I started working on cable about 2 years ago while I was attending a post-diploma in France, and we were researching energy and the infrastructure producing energy. And from there I started to think about which were the carrier of this energy, and there I got interested in cables. I was interested on these elements as the backbone of our contemporary society, and from there, since my work is about communication and language, then the first cable I was interested to were the cable to connect internet all over the world, and the undersea cable in particular, because somehow they are a global network. And so I start researching those cables and this infrastructure, and then sculpturally to be interested in making these elements undergoing different processes of corrosion and disruption. And then from there I decided to search for this cable for real, and I asked to a diver in Sicily to film this cable, especially the one that were connecting the south of Italy to Tunisia. And so he made this shooting, and I had the chance to see how these cables were transforming under the ocean, and the organic connecting to the artificial. And this became as well an inspiration for a next project that I developed in Jan van Eyck Academy last year, 2018, and which is called Aden Stories. And from there, like, Aden is the god of the underworld, and somehow the Aden territory is a territory where things begin and end, and for me was a symbol of a time where things come to life. And this process is a process that involves both destruction and creation, which somehow are forces that interest me a lot, and that comes into many other works I'm doing. This exhibition in particular can be a closing point and a beginning at the same time for other projects. I mean, I want to continue researching cables, but somehow what is happening is that first my interest was especially in cables that were carrying information, so the internet and the infrastructure of communication. But now my interest is going more towards energy and like the energetic processes that somehow at the source of all our infrastructure, not just the communication infrastructure, but at the base of our contemporary technological life. And therefore the new sound piece, which is Blind Sun, and it is a piece that translates the process, the nuclear fusion that is happening in the sun. It is a piece that for me symbolizes a bit the source of the sun as a source of the energy that we are consuming, and that goes from the macro to the micro, but also a starting point to think more of how to connect the two layers, the natural into the human life, let's say, and explore these two different levels, a cosmogonic one and a human one, somehow one into the other. The movie I made for the exhibition as well is a micro in the macro. It is a closing point, but also a starting point, because the explosion is a tool that I use to create sculptures, because usually I made elements that are quite regular, and then I intervene on them, exploding them, somehow introducing this element of disruption and into the objects, into these artificial elements. And at the same time, I like how it works in this exhibition, because it brings this element of catharsis and of disruption as well. And it deals directly with the infrastructure that it is interesting to see in a world that it is somehow so suspended, like it brings back things to reality. And these elements somehow take life by themselves, like exploding, because you don't see any agent interacting with the cables with this or producing this explosion. So you don't know if these explosions are artificial or they just come from the cable themselves that somehow don't respond anymore to human laws.